No, I'm sorry, you were supposed to sit up with us.
It's 5:40, so everybody would listen up here. We'll get the meeting started. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I got some things here that we've done in the last year that I'll say, but I ask that please be respectful to each other, okay?
Can you speak up, please?
First thing I'll say is the cemetery streets out here, when anybody that goes in the cemetery, notice that the streets are all broken up, crumbled. They haven't been done in years. We have a contract, got those done. It will start July 15th. So if anybody has anything going on the week of July 15th, that cemetery will be actively repaid. We're in the final stage of getting a contract for a police and ambulance building, which will be built back behind here. Guys, you're gonna do a perk test on Wednesday.
Is that EMS?
Excuse me?
Is it EMS?
EMS and police,
Oh.
combined building. We're working on some blight projects, trying to get some blight cleaned up, which is a struggle because of the laws behind people's property. Got some of it done, but still work in progress. Then a burned out house on 24 Soupy Drive, we finally got rid of that one. Cleaned up. received two AEDs, automatic defibrillators. One of them, if you notice when you came in, is out here on the wall. There was not one in the building. Jamie Cross and Steve was instrumental with the Steel Patriots and getting those donated to us. The one went in a patrol car and the other one out here. And the miracle thing about it was right before that, one of the deputies saved a man's life with one. So they're in the cars. We didn't pay for them. And I took tools and mounted it on the building. Replaced the complete water system in this building regarding the well, not the well, but everything that comes into the well. The tank, everything was rotted, dripping, and found bacteria in it. So the safest thing to do was replace all of it. So that was done. And we had to get regular water tests, which we have done. Okay. There was road commission projects. One was rebuilding Prospect Road. We completed paving East Sawdust Corner Road from 24 to Weir Road. Removed dangerous trees on Farnsworth. West Coulter Road, where it goes and dips down by a pond. It's flooding over the road. They're going to start that soon and put a culvert drain back in it because there's about halfway across the road this spring. So that's a project we're going to start on here pretty soon. Dangerous trees, remove a lot of dangerous trees on Reed Road, King Road, Burner Road, West Side, Millville Road, Canopy, and again Farnsworth Road. And I just want to note that when a complaint comes in, here I get it, I know, email, whatever. I personally go check every one in my car. I drive to them. I don't just take somebody's word for it. I go out and I look at them. So I know what the complaint really is. Okay? And I don't charge it per diem. My gas, my car. Let's see. Personally, I attended 2 supervisor training conferences this past year. That's kind of an overview. I think there's some other projects that I'd like to get working on in the near future. Okay. Okay, what we need to do now is approve the minutes of the June 2023 annual meeting. So we have a motion to approve those minutes. Move. There comes. You have a second? Stay away. So he moves. Now, so we don't get a bunch of confusion, show of hands. And we're going to go by majority. Show of hands to approve the minutes. If we want to approve, put your hand up. Assume that majority is voting yes. Everybody okay with that? Vote yes, majority. They don't need to do it a second time? Okay, well, we'll do it. Do we have any no's? Okay.
I'm going to make a motion to maintain 2 trustees for Mayfield Township.
I second it.
Okay. The motion was to maintain 2 trustees for Mayfield Township, not to add 2 more.
What about public time before we start to do business? Can we speak on some stuff?
You can speak on this. If we get, we have time to speak. On the
So you're
motion.
acknowledging public time now?
We'll have a public time on the motion.
It's seconded.
It was, and so now we'll talk about it.
So now, it's seconded, so now is the time we talk about it. Before we vote.
Jan Watts, 2235 River Road. I believe being the largest township in the county of Lapeer, that having 2 more trustees who represent many of us, not necessarily the good old boys or whomever. You seem to have the same people on the board, on the committees, on the commissions, whatever. Over this last year, I've been watching, and if there were any votes that I considered in favor of residents, not necessarily what was best for people in the office or whatever, we had two trustees who often voted no. And so I think that township our size, largest township in the county, two more trustees would, I think, represent us a lot better.
You know, I've lived in this township since 1966, and we built a home, not a house. We raised our kids there, and everything is run satisfactory. Then we get these people to come in for their own agenda, and you will never know what that agenda is until they give them what they want. But our trustees aren't overworking enough. And we can't afford, a lot of us can't afford more taxes. You know, the same people that vote for these taxes will complain about other departments. The same people. It just don't make sense. We hear the same thing every year. I say leave it alone.
Gary Foster, Plum Creek Road, good evening. Thank you for holding another meeting at a time inconvenient for our working population. Two more trustees, officers, two opportunities for an independent person who will actually provide a source of reliable information. Plus, everything that goes on in this township is our business. We fund it all. We fund them. But getting information from the current elected officials is impossible, because they won't give it out. We'll talk more about all the information we don't get. But if we had two more trustees, we might have a hope of having one or two that will get information and say, hey, the citizens need to know this. I would hope. Thank you for your time.
Haley Kirby, Ruth Lake Road. I don't think we need more trustees. Why are we gonna put more money out? Well, someone will just sue them and they'll take our money anyway. So why would we put more money towards something that's not gonna do us any good?
Agreed.
I'm Ed Pakula. I've lived in this township for almost 85 years, and I agree 100% with Jan Watts. This board is so incompetent, especially the treasurer, the clerk, and the supervisor. Everything is voted their way, and the only way to check it is with two more trustees that can even the score. That's what I feel. Wow. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
I want those who are thinking about expanding the commission to reflect very carefully on what we're going to do. You got a board, you have an election. Those that you don't like, you got to get people to oppose those people and have a fair election. And replace them if you don't like the existing board. I'm a Tea Party person. I'm for limited government, a very responsive republic, low taxes, fiscal responsibility. Okay? That's what I stand for. I don't know if you've ever attended meetings that I've monitored here, but I think that you look at the people who are running for office now against those people who are up for election. There are some people here who are not really qualified to run for election. And if you expand the possibility of having two more places, all you're gonna do is fill it with maybe somebody that's going to side with the other, with the existing board that you have. All we want to do is require this existing board to be responsible to our needs and necessities, okay? I don't know how you do that. Expanding it, making a bigger bureaucracy does not do that, does not accomplish that goal. So I just want you guys to reflect on that theory before you make your decision today and pay out more tax dollars to additional people that may be furthering the benefit of the existing board, okay? I just want you to reflect on it, okay?
If we try to add 2 more trustees, it's going to only muddy the waters. We've got a board that works, and the board, the townships that have had more trustees in the long run have regretted it. So, go wisely.
Tessa Mash, 1000 Angle Road. My point is this. Trustees are an elected position. If you want different trustees in this township that I've lived in since 1968, put your name on a sign, start knocking on doors, and run for that position. Stop complaining about the people that are here. The people that are currently here were elected 4 years ago. You don't want them? Get out there and run, Jan Watts. Thank you.
I had the pleasure of serving on the advisory committee of the airport board 2 different times. And part of that time I was chairman. And we worked closely with members of the township board. And I'm not sure, Dan, if you were a supervisor when I was on that board.
No.
Having said that, I will tell you that we always had open and honest discussions about issues when it came to township and the airport. I'll remind you that the airport is a self-sufficient organization. It doesn't cost the township a penny. And have there been issues that we've occasionally talked about? Of course they have. That's what this is all about. That's what government is about. That's what open and honest discussion is. And did I agree with our treasurer or our clerk every single time? Heavens no. But we talked about it and we worked it out, and everybody was better for it. And I don't think adding more trustees is going to be necessarily the answer. So, thank you.
Anybody else have a comment?
I'm John Engelman. I've been in the township since 1962 also. I served on the airport board and the township board as a trustee for a total of 16 years. During that time, several things I noticed. There was never such a thing as a secret meeting or a secret decision in any of that time. All meetings are posted on the board, other places. They're at regular times. If you want to know what's going on, you come here, you ask, you get a copy of the budget. It's available for asking. There are no secrets other than personnel and legal matters when you have your attorneys. Those are the only meetings that are not attended and open to the public. There's no such thing of keeping information from the people in the township if you want to know what's going on. Like many others have said, 4 trustees leads to nothing but grief. I saw it in Alba, I saw it other places. It's an unnecessary expense. If you don't like the 2 you got now, and you don't like the supervisor, treasurer, clerk, as I said before, hit the bricks, unelect them. That's what democracy is about. Thank you.
Okay. One more,
I like you.
do you have something?
No, sorry.
You know, I have a question. Sue Schlaud, 2560 Farnsworth Road. When we were here last year for the annual meeting and we were voting on the salary issue, it was quite confusing. So I'm hoping that you've had time to discuss it to be a little bit more organized so it's not as chaotic and lengthy.
We'll do we'll start with a yes vote by hand. Mr. Gildner will take count.
If I could,
Sure, absolutely.
if we'll just do it by row, okay? So first row hands up, and then we'll go down the line. I'll tally it up. If anyone disputes my count, they can call it out. But to be clear, the motion was to keep 2 as opposed to adding 2. So a motion for yes is to keep it at 2. Understood?
Why don't they count off?
No.
We tried that.
We're just gonna raise
You're
the
gonna do it by row.
I'll count that each row. I'll go back through.
Are we voting
First
Not no more. We live in different times now.
Okay, let's go this row here. We've got a yes vote.
raise your hand.
Hand up.
1, 2. I counted 10.
This
Second,
row.
second row. Also 10.
This row.
Yeah. 14.
This row.
9.
Raise your hand. Yes.
Ma'am, is your hand up? There you Yeah, so I can see you, please.
If you count it, get your hands up.
13.
Okay. 1 yes.
I count 6, 7, 8. Dan, let's do that roll again. If you're voting yes, please raise your hand high. 1, 2, 3, 8. 8. Nine. I believe that's everybody.
Okay. We can do this. Okay, let's do this one more time for name. For what? Name no vote. Anybody voting no in this row, raise your hand. 3. No, voting no, raise your hand.
1. Third row.
1.
1, okay.
Fourth row. Nobody. Fifth. 1. 6. 7. No vote, anybody here? In the back row?
So I counted 86 yes, 13 no.
That motion's passed. And next on the agenda would be,
Are we going to have public comment?
increase elected officials' wages. We have a motion.
I took a comment.
I'd like to, Gary Foster, Pumpkin, rise to offer a motion for 0% increase for all members of the board elected for this year.
I'll second.
I second it.
I'll second that motion.
Who seconded that?
Now that we can open that for discussion.
Before,
Thank you.
before that motion was made, oops, somebody behind
Okay,
you.
thank you. Once again, the question is performance. I cannot decide for my own self, after years of watching this proceedings, if we are dealing with raw incompetence or absolute arrogance. We cannot find out what our township leaders are doing. We find out from the press or our own leaders that we just burned off several $100,000 in legal fees over the worst concept of a lawsuit this board launched against our own airport managers. How many of us knew that? Several $100,000. $100,000 of it was awarded to the lawyers representing the airport manager, our employees, plus whatever legal fees that we burned off, which we have not yet learned. We will eventually. We know we have $800,000 or so of ARPA money that's been sitting for several years waiting to do something to benefit us, the citizens. That's why the federal government put the money out there, to benefit us and to stimulate the economy, which obviously doesn't need to be done now. We have not had one single meeting in this township for us, the citizens, to comment on what we could do with that money. I bet we have some ideas. I bet we have some thoughts. I don't object necessarily to the leadership we have if they would do the job of being leaders and solicit our opinions. But they don't seem to want to do that, ever. We, the employers of the board, voted several years ago to have a new zoning. Recall that? We passed that overwhelmingly to get a new zoning map. Not one single meeting of the citizens has occurred. They issued a contract and nothing has happened since. This board said, okay, the people voted for it, we'll issue a contract, and then do nothing. Some of the things we see coming into our township, storage units and unpaved driveways and fun little things that just don't seem to be what we want in our own community. It's our property values that are at stake. Mine, yours, everybody's. These are leadership issues. Now, the question is our leadership unable to execute? Unable to simply hold a meeting and ask for ideas? Possibly. Or are they so arrogant they say they don't need our ideas, they just need our votes on election day every 4 years? I can't decide which it is. I would love to be on the ballot today. I would be very willing to be on the ballot today if I didn't have health issues that prohibit me from doing that. Perhaps in 4 years those issues will be solved. Please help us today hold the line against excessive, wasteful.
Time's up.
Thank you.
Joy?
This is not what this meeting is about. If you need to be spoon-fed, you're a little old for that. You bring your butt up here, talk to the board, and get your questions answered.
I thought we were making
Respectful.
Respectful.
Yeah, they've been respectful, other people might not have been, but unfortunately that happens in these kind of meetings.
$700,000 that he was talking about, so the bank might not be there very long. You might not have to worry about where it's gonna go. airport lawsuit, they paid $102,000 of attorney fees for the airport. They paid them almost $51,000 in back management fees. And the lawsuit's going on. The airport has a super attorney from Chicago, Todd Roden. And the way it looks to me, this township could get skinned for hundreds of thousands of dollars because of their incompetence. And then they also got nailed in court in the Joe Stock case of their incompetence. They got sanctioned for attorney fees there. This is, I don't know what else, but now they want you to reward them for their lousy incompetence, for bad behavior, and they want to reward them by a raise.
Anybody else? Okay.
My concern is not just the Joe Stock and the airport. We're still having Lapeer International Dragway all the way up to the Supreme Court. There's a lot of attorney fees, and I don't see Michael Gildner's salary on or how we contract that. But it is a lot of money that is going out to the township for lawsuits. If it's not, then I would like to know where, if it's not accurate, you're saying it's not accurate? I wanna know how much money is our township paying out for lawsuits?
Okay, I'm gonna have.
And that would be an issue for
You
me.
speak to that, please, Mike.
Which part?
All three of them. There's
Right,
three
so
of them, and
there-
I'd like to hear what they are.
There are three lawsuits. First of all, the one with the dragway that's at the Michigan Supreme Court. The township is not an active party in it. If I've incurred any attorney fees on it, it's simply been watching what has been happening and reporting back to the township. But the township made the deliberate choice that the person with the most skin in that game is the dragway owner, not the township. And so the township chose not to be active in it. That's that one lawsuit. The second lawsuit is a Joe Stock lawsuit dealing with FOIA or open meetings. I can't recall. The court allowed the township to file an answer to it. The other side filed an application for leave to appeal, and that is now pending before the Michigan Court of Appeals. No decision has been made there. The third lawsuit is the LAI lawsuit. For those of you that were here years ago with a different board, the board made the decision to terminate the operating and management agreements of LAI. The reasons were publicly stated at the time. Two gentlemen came forward and said that they were the owners of LAI and that they were going to be taking it over. The township learned soon thereafter, when those two partners sued each other, that those two partners were not the two partners in LAI. One was a partner, according to the one, not the other. The township also learned that it wasn't LAI that really owned the company anyway. It was a holding company. And again, for those of you who were present for that meeting, I was here for that meeting. And I recall both gentlemen standing up and saying, we're the owners, we've got this under control. And it devolved into a lawsuit between the partners, a dispute that ultimately prompted the township board to cancel those agreements. It is true. The judge just came down with an order saying that the township was responsible for two sets of expenses to LAI. One, unpaid expenses for bills that were turned in but were not paid. There was a dispute about exactly what was owed and what wasn't owed. The court clarified The second aspect was the attorney fees. So representing LAI is a gentleman out of Chicago, who also has local counsel in Grand Blanc, and they came forward and they were asking for their attorney fees. The judge went through it in detail, through all of the invoices, allowed some, did not allow others. The end result was $110,000, if I recall correctly, in attorney fees. So those cases are all the cases that I'm aware of that are pending, and the reasons behind it.
John Engelman again. If you want to correct me if I'm wrong, but when you have an airport, you get a lot of money through a federal block grant program administered by the Michigan Department of Aeronautics. When you take that money, which is the only way you can manage to build a runway or legs, whatever, you're obligated to keep the airport landing surface open for 20 years. You're not obligated to keep an FBO or anything else. The second thing, as I recall, is money generated from the airport facility, that includes hangars, any other fees from gasoline, has to stay for use for the airport only. You cannot commingle that money to the Indian Airport Fund or township expenses like road building. That's changed, hard to please, but that's the way I remember it. Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank all of you for coming. This annual meeting has been a sore spot in this township for a number of years. Back in 2020, there was a citizen referendum that got on the ballot. It was passed by over 80% of the township residents that we wanted an annual meeting. In less than 2 years, our township board passed a resolution to get rid of it. Went to the ballot in 2022. Residents of Mayfield Township said, we would like to keep it. And this is exactly, I've been really pleased. I've heard more discussion tonight.
Excuse me. We're talking about wages here.
Yeah, and I'm getting to that.
And you're,
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to it.
stay on track what we're going with here so we can get down, okay?
No, I want to.
Okay, so we'll talk about wages.
Please, please, let her, please.
What you were handed tonight was put together by some people who wanted you to know what was being asked. It's really hard to often read the budgets. Yes, you do have the right to come and to get a copy of it, whatever. I would now like to add a few things to your half-page sheet related to, because when I look at it and I say the increases, and I know there's a motion to not do any increase at all, I was hoping that I could say something about having each position considered separately, because there may be people who deserve a raise, and there are other people who may not deserve a raise. But if you want to look at your little half sheet, under pension amount, there are several question marks. We didn't get information in time to get it on the sheet. I just want you to let you know it's not considered under fringe benefits. Pension amount for the supervisor, that means the township puts in to the pension program for the supervisor, $11,850 a year. For the treasurer, $14,432 a year. For the clerk, $16,327 a year. And for the two trustees combined, $4,186. So, I made another column on my sheet. If you look at supervisor, grand total, salary, per diem, fringe benefits, and pension, the supervisor's number comes up at $61,466. Treasurer comes up at $74,158. And the clerk comes up at $85,228. $247. Trustees, two of them together, $34,186. That's a total for the 5 elected officials, benefits and everything, in this township, $255,057. Now, that isn't counting.
We got 3 minutes yet?
Pardon?
I'm interested.
Yeah, keep going.
Sure, you got my time. You get 3 minutes.
I have 3 minutes. Your time, my 3 minutes.
All right.
3 minutes.
Okay, 3 minutes. Somebody else will start.
That doesn't count, these are the only things we get to vote on, are the elected officials. There are.
3 minutes are up.
I didn't have time to
All right, that's enough. Calm down.
So we have other people in the office that we don't have control over their hourly wage or salary or whatever it is. I'm sure, well, no, I'm not sure, but you should know that the deputy treasurer, who is the wife of the treasurer, the two of them together make over $100,000. They're open 3 days a week. The deputy clerk is the daughter of the clerk. And she makes, let me see, I got several figures here. Sorry. Deputy treasurer, okay, deputy clerk, salary and benefits, $55,316 for a deputy. Now, we don't have any control over that. The board determines those salaries. All we can do is vote on the elected officials. I just want to add one little thing, that's just kind of interesting. There's a township not far from us in this county that they have a supervisor, clerk, treasurer, 2 trustees elected. They then have one other person who is the office staff, acts as the deputy clerk, acts as the deputy treasurer, because those 2 positions are there all the time. So this person acts on that. When our cost for our office is what it is, with the 5 elected officials, the 2 deputy clerks, clerk and treasurer, and our office staff, our total for running this office is $336.99. This other township that I'm talking about, they're, somebody like to give me 3 more minutes? I'll give you my
Hold on. Mr. Gildner will address that.
I wasn't hitting the timer because it's hopefully on the honor system. 3 minutes is not something like a chit that you give away. You can't give it away. That's your time, and that's your time. So for that reason, it's not something where someone can give you 3 minutes after 3 minutes.
Okay, and I was just going to say earlier, that's the rules for board meetings. This is not a board meeting. This is a meeting of the other township.
What is going on? You're gonna stop talking, she's just gonna go on and on and on, just like you.
Diane,
My
you
God.
got your hand up. Okay, quiet. Let her speak.
I've witnessed a lot of people complain about the hours that our township officials are available. And I just want to say that I've witnessed these people working a lot of hours at night, on Sundays, on holidays. Jamie, for instance, she's been out here in the cemetery when people need to come and have a grave site open. It's pouring rain. It's her day off. She's out there. It's a holiday. It's Sunday. Dan, day, night, like he said, he's out on the road. People have a complaint. I've seen him go out at night, take calls, go out and meet with people. This is
not just the hours that are posted on this sheet. You might come here and not find somebody and be angry about that, but let me tell you, this is a 24-hour, 7 days a week job. And if you want something changed, then by God, get a sign and run, because it's not easy. And anything people do is never right. You're never gonna please 100 people 100% of the time. You have to do what you think is best for the people, and these people work hard to do that.
I would just like to say your figures are incorrect. Just because they're on this budget document, doesn't mean they're all used for the deputies. It is for the board members, that is true. But the deputies have a number in there, just as the secretary does, because we don't know how many hours they're going to work in a year. This year is going to be a more of a involved in our office as the clerk, because this is our first year for 9 days of early voting. The election rules have all changed. We've already been to umpteen trainings. We will have more, I'm sure. So just because this number, which I don't believe that number adds up to what you stated for my deputy, I didn't look for Dan's. Those are numbers, to be honest with you, that I put in there. I have to guesstimate what they're going to do in that fiscal year. So with that being said, we did 2 budget amendments this year. That is very good for most. I know some people in other townships, and they're like, we do budget amendments all the time. I don't want to do budget amendments all the time. I try and justify what's in here in this budget at budget workshop. So at that time, we all discussed what the budget's going to be. And we have a balanced budget. That doesn't mean that you use all of that money all of the time. It's there in case you need it. So with that being said, you can't just spew numbers out there for certain people and say, oh, it's $55,000 for the deputy clerk. No, it's not. It's a potential number that if we worked, actually an election that we had not too long ago, we got ballots with the timing marks on the side of the ballot were incorrect from the printer. We worked almost a 24-hour day. We're not allowed to leave until that election is complete. So with that being said, you don't know what this year is going to be with 2 more elections. We've had 1, and it went pretty good. But it was in February.
Are the 3 minutes up yet?
No. So, the other statement that was made was it's Dan's wife and it's Julie Schlaud. Jamie is my 4th deputy that I've had here, and Debbie is Dan's 3rd deputy that he's had. So just because they're who they are today isn't who they were always. So I just want to make that clear, that they were always, they are here.
Nepotism.
2 minutes.
And you know what? Nepotism is in our employee manual from before any of us were on this board.
The difference between legal and moral.
No.
Anybody else?
Are we still on the motion?
Ron Joe Stock, I just want to touch base on a few things everybody talked about. Well, you know, there's a lot of things that was contingent that had to be done through the township, that if the township let him do it, then things had to be taken care of. 1, containers are not paid. When they went up, they were supposed to be painted, so it didn't look like an eyesore. And just everything around there is an eyesore. So, you know what? Yeah, the lawsuit is still going, and it will go until it's finished. Because they're not following through with what they said had to be done for this to happen. Well, do what, they're supposed to do what they were told to do. You know? Us as farmers, when we're done for the season, all our stuff was set all over. It's in the sheds, looks nice, you know, we take care of it. They need to follow through and do what they said had to be done.
Do you have anybody more that would like to speak on wages, topic we're on right speak on that? No? Okay, well, I guess it's time for vote. Do the same thing, we'll start with yes votes.
So the motion was made.
State the motion and clarify the vote, okay?
The motion was made to keep the pay the same for all officials. There will be no change from last year. That was the motion? I believe. So a yes vote is to keep it the same, no change in pay. Understood?
Just one question, when you say last year, which was the same as the year before, correct? Because
I don't
last
know.
year there were no raises either, so we're talking.
No change from the existing rate. That's the way to put it. Okay?
All in favor, Ms. Rowe? Yes vote, raise your hand.
Yes, keep it at 0, correct?
Yes, to keep it at 0. That's 7.
Second row?
Sorry,
8.
8. Third row?
13.
Fourth row?
9.
Okay, good.
14. 14.
Do that again. All right, let's do this again. Put them on high. You want to be counted, put them on.
14.
Okay, 6th row here.
13. Five.
And the back.
Back row 2.
Family and friends. Right. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, one more time, everybody.
This is no. This is no on that motion. Eight. One and 2.
2.
Okay.
Row. No vote.
2 there.
4. No votes. 1. Here. This row. No vote. Okay. Here. Got 1.
1. Okay.
Here. 1. Back. Paul.
I got 12 back. 27.
Okay, that motion's passed to not increase the salary of the elected official.
We didn't hear what you said.
The motion passed to not increase the salaries of the elected officials.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have public time.
I usually enjoy these meetings
feel like you do a good job. And I also feel the way the economy is, you easily deserved more money. And I'm sorry they didn't give it to you.
Leslie Getz. I would like to compliment everybody who's here tonight. I think this is a great turnout. Unfortunately, we don't have as many people coming to the monthly board meetings. There are lots of reasons for that, but I like to see people participate. And I think it's great that Mayfield Township is able to hold an annual meeting for its citizens, even though a lot of the surrounding townships do not. But I think this is a great time. I compliment Supervisor Engelman because one of my questions was going to be about reports for different things that have gone on in the township. And I think that's an excellent way for us that don't always come to the monthly meetings to know what's been going on. So those updates, I know I appreciate them. I'm sure some of you do also. My first issue, I was asked by one of our residents to bring up the need for a weather alert siren that can be heard in the Plum Creek Road area. I believe the gentleman is handicapped and he wasn't able to come to the meeting today, but he asked me to bring that up as a concern. Unfortunately, I have some complaining to do. I was hoping that the treasurer would be here tonight, but I don't believe he is. But the board is responsible for approving minutes and treasurer's reports and so on and so forth at the monthly meeting. And I would like to know why out of 15 treasurer's reports that I reviewed that were posted on the website, I found 10 that contained line item errors, and 12 of them had discrepancies between the ending balance and the next beginning balance. And it concerns me that if published reports have so many errors in them, I'm worried about what the rest of the finances of the township look like. Now that Judge Nolan has ordered the township to pay over $100,000 in attorney fees, when are we going to amend the budget to include the lawsuit judgment, and where's the money going to come from? I also had a concern, as was already asked, how much we pay Mr. Gildner in legal fees for this lawsuit. I've attempted to get an update from the board on other issues like the new master plan that I think, as was mentioned, we contracted for a long time ago. There's a potential donated property, I believe, on Davis Lake Road that I've asked about. I think Mr. Gildner gave us a review of outstanding lawsuits. That was one of my questions. I'd like to know about the progress on the new website design. And I know that Supervisor Engelman gave us an update on a potential new building here. I think what you didn't mention was that that's going to come out of the ARPA funds. So one of my questions was about what we're going to spend the $827,783 in ARPA funds on, and I think that's one of them, but I'm not at all. I'd like to have you give us all the information today, if you may, or I'd like the board to follow up with me. I challenge you to show me where there's a 3-minute limit for the annual meeting, respectfully.
Yes,
Good evening. I want to thank you for your time today. My name is Megan Lang. I'm the current Chief Deputy Register at East Lapeer County. I came to this county 12 years ago and have been serving the Register of Deeds for 5 years. In my position, I've assisted with managing the office, hiring the current staff, and overseeing their training. I
Anybody have a second?
Jamie did come.
Sally?
I guess there's more.
Now, what kind of a board goes ahead and ends a meeting like that because there's a motion?
Let's try this again. All in favor of that to adjourn the meeting?
Shouldn't that motion be out of order? Robert's Rules of Orders would find that as a
Try this again.
Please.
All in favor of adjourning the meeting, raise your hand. Ms. Rose, in favor of adjournment? Anybody else? Yeah. In favor of adjournment? We're gonna stay Okay, the motion's failed. Who has something else they'd like to speak on? Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I'm Kathy Haas, and I live on Bruce Lake Road, and I just have 3 points. It doesn't need an answer, it just needs somebody to think about it and see if we can move on with it. Bruce Lake Road, from the beginning of the Kleenex factory property line to Queens Road, as far as I know, it's never been attended to, like resurfaced. And none of that happened when the Kleenex factory got the extra construction on the south end of the road to allow heavy traffic. So the north end from the airport terminal, Queens Road, is in really bad shape. And then county commission, or the county, whoever, the red trucks with black stuff they put on the road went by today, they filled in a few little holes. But the road in front of me is cracked all the way across, and there's grass growing up. So, to me, I think that road deserves some attention, considering the other roads that get fixed in this area.
I can answer that. That's not our responsibility. That's a county road responsibility. I talked to the road commission regarding it and asked them to fix it. If they don't have the money to fix it, it's not the township's responsibility. That's designated as a county road. No, I tried, but you know what, they don't have any money, and they tell me they're not gonna do it.
Okay, that's fine. My next point is on Bowers Road, between where the airport traffic intersection was improved up to Meyer Road intersection, which is very nice, the left turn lane. But the road in between, about a quarter mile, is nothing but holes, and 45 miles an hour is the value of the car. Again, there's holes. That's it. And my third point is, there's lots of traffic on Bruce Lake Road that goes north and south. A lot of it goes too fast. A lot of it is heavy trucks, like semi trucks that are still going by. They're going fast. I'm not talking about cement trucks and people with construction materials, because there's a lot of building in the area. Just the fact that we have semis still running on that road, probably more than 45 miles an hour. So, my issue is.
They're not supposed to be on that road. I have spoke with my coworkers, when I work for the state police, and asked them to pay attention to that. They do apparently sometimes, but they can't do it every day. And these guys, if they don't pay excess sign up, not to go that route. They still do it. Okay, township can't stop them. I can send people over there to, give them tickets, but the next guy's gonna do it. So, Powers Road, well, Powers Road's not our road either.
Well, these two Mayfield Township side of the road, leave the other side. It's a county Thank you very much.
say what you wanna say, incorrect. We spent $348,000 when we finished a project that started from Plum Creek Road, Mayfield, Stump, McCormick, Sawdust Corners, and completed it over to Weir Road. $348,000 went onto that project. We're working on building this building here for the fire, or not fire, bring that down. Ambulance now is housed at the ice cream shop up here, paying $1,200 a month. Doesn't make sense to have them in there, trying to get out the hill. So the plan is, this building will house police officers and the ambulance people who, they work 24-hour shifts. So they will be here, and they won't pay rent, it won't be like, we're not building it specifically for them, but we're building it to make it better.
And the cost of it?
I don't have the total yet. We're working on getting close, but I did talk to the.
I mean, is that gonna be taken, I can stand up on you too, but if it's not covered, is our taxes going up to cover that building over there?
That will be ARPA money more than likely. That's what it's supposed to be used for. Okay? Can't be used for, well, it could be used for ways. When they started the ARPA thing, I make this clear, when they started that, they sent that out and said, here's your $800-some thousand. And basically, nobody knew what to do with it. We went, Julie and I, we went to meetings and asked them, what do we do with this stuff? Well, how are we supposed to spend it? No, we don't. How do you want us to know? So then it progressed as more people complained, so we gave some money, but we can't spend it. What do you want us to do with it? Then they came back and said, okay, here's what you can use it for. Roads, projects for here, updating the building, things like that.
Would it make sense to, though, is it just not across the board, but even to come up with ideas, and even have input from the community on what to do with that money? Or, I would think that just like in an annual meeting, hey, we got $800,000, what can we do to make our community better? And I think that a lot of people, even if we argue and have our issues, we can still come up with good ideas.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't know why we didn't come up at the last meeting of, hey, we need to have an $800,000 meeting to come up with some ideas. I'm sure this small body of almost 10,000 people could come up with some really good ideas to do that.
Gary?
Gary Childers, I've lived here over 70 years, my whole life. And all I've heard is a lot of people complaining about people here in the township. It's just like you said before, you know. That's why we vote to elect people. We get in here, call them all incompetent. If you don't like them, like you said, vote somebody else. And as far as somebody saying, oh, you should have, we got 80-some people in here, you know. They got ideas how to spend that money. Yeah, 80-some people can tell you. That's why we elect somebody that we think we can trust to direct the things for the township. You can't have 80 people all telling you how to spend the same dollar. And I think the guys are, from what I've seen, I think our officials are doing.
There's townships that are building playground equipment, playground stuff. They haven't got high parks in the city, and nobody uses the stuff that's in there. So, we're gonna waste money on a playground out here that nobody's gonna play.
Yes, I guess a simple question. Have you updated a master plan, or are you engaging in a review of the master plan? It's supposed to be done like every 5 years or so. Can you give us some insight on that? Do you plan a public meeting on comprehensive master plan for what you intend to do in the township?
There is a planner that's working on it.
Is there going to be public meeting, public hearings on that at all?
We don't need that at this moment.
There would have to be. There has to be.
Okay, do we have anybody else? Nobody else? Go ahead, Julie.
I just want to answer the lady that asked about spending the money. One of our trustees has spoken for many years about the building that we are going to now construct with the ARPA money. That's been a discussion at this township for a long time. Along with the discussion on if we're gonna spend that money, what would we not be able to afford with our regular money? And one of them project like that, and if you were to go in there right now and drive through the cemetery, which we have a lot of people go in there daily, and there's corners where it's hard for the hearse to go around the corner. There's section D in the back that has never been paved because we were told to let it, I don't know if the right word is cure, whatever, when the driveway was put in, and it's never been paved after that. So the cemetery can't generate that kind of money to repave that project. So those are two things right there that, A, we've talked about the building that is more or less in my eyes, a public safety building, because we're not only going to just be able to use it for the police and whatnot. I asked for it to be heated, so if we need to move out of this small room and move our election into out there, it's gonna become hopefully a multi-purpose building. So the numbers, Julie, the gentleman who's doing that is coming next week to do some finalization of his plans, and the cemetery project is just one that the cemetery can't afford to pay on its own. So it would have been taxpayer money if we wanted to upgrade it. So this is a way to do it without doing that, and we already did the one road project.
The road project that we did, it was under $1.5 million, over $1.5 million to do that project, open the canopy up. If you don't, the road just rots away again. So we went through, opened the canopy, the whole project all the way to Weir Road was $1.3 million, something like that. But the fact matters, we did not use or increase anybody's taxes. That was money that was set aside to do the roads. I worked with the road commission extensively. What roads do we get our best benefit to do a stretch and get it done? That was their plan. They said, this road right here, we can save these if we do it now. That's how that project came about. Soon after, I see an article in the paper that says, that project was done because it's Engelman Alley. I don't live on it. I do not live on Valentine Road. You know, it doesn't matter. What I'm getting at is that you're trying to do good things, and then you got people, putting articles in the paper saying that we did something because my name. Okay, that's not true. But
Yeah, I have a question about the master plan, and what is the name of the company who's working on that?
Is it Carmen? Carmen and Martini, I don't know the name of the firm.
Where are they based out of?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I looked for that annual meeting on the website, so I could see when and where it was. And I did not see it on the website. Was it on the website and I just missed it?
Not on the website.
no,
Because I called the township offices, and the poor lady who answered the phone had to put me on hold so she could go ask when it was. Is it possible that we can have someplace on the website when meetings are, so we know if it's something we want to attend?
Julie said it's on the meeting date.
It was listed as a board meeting. It's not a board meeting.
So I'm not
Board isn't
looking the
here.
right spot on the website?
It's just under the meeting dates.
Go to the left side of the website, under meetings.
Under meetings, okay.
Where's the board?
It didn't list it as an annual meeting, but it's listed under.
I'm Debbie Larson, I live on King. Is there some reason this annual meeting was not put on that marquee out front?
It is not.
Oh, is it?
It is not.
Yesterday, I just didn't notice it. When, yesterday? Wasn't on Friday.
I guess with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second. I'll second.
This gentleman here.